get into an interior room, a bathroom, a closet, a hall closet. It's not a bad idea to put something over your head in case we do have a touchdown. Again, better be safe than sorry. If you're maybe kids are home from school and their parents aren't home yet. If you guys are home by yourself, just get to that safe spot. Do the same thing. Turn up the audio and stay safe until your parents get home too. I know a lot of times this time of the day, school is back in session. Kids go to school, they come home by themselves, and they're like, "What's going on? My phone's telling me there's a tornado warning. So let me turn on the TV. Here we are." So just letting you know, best place to be, lowest point of your home, away from windows, and we'll get through this together here. Ottawa and Sandusky counties until 4:25 now, or 4:45, excuse me. Now, when we looked at this storm initially, the thinking was, well, it's probably not going to come into Erie or Huron County. Let's see. I still think that's a possibility that it does not, but it all depends on the actual track of this thing. Because, Sam, the last thing I noticed, really, this track takes it out to the lake. So I'm not as concerned about Erie and Huron County. I mean, the storm itself is pretty nasty, but as far as causing or having a tornado warning for Erie and Huron, we'll see. Erie would be the best chance, northern Erie, with this thing. If they do extend the warning, it might be for Sandusky. So if you're in Sandusky, just watch now. We're not saying get to your safe spot just yet, but keep it right here, and we'll let you know if that will eventually be a concern or a recommendation here, because there's no warning yet for Erie County, including Sandusky. Outside of that, we haven't seen too much. We got a couple of storms or a couple of showers trying to pop. Norwalk, as you head up towards Sandusky. Got a little cell out here towards the Lima area. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning here outside of Fort Wayne. Last night we were talking about what to expect today, and I said we got to watch out for these cells that are kind of by themselves and really not being bothered by anything else. And in this particular case, that's what we're seeing out to our west. So this rotation is still there, Sam, but it's kind of breaking up a little bit more, I would say. Not sure if we have an update from the folks at the Weather Service on this, because we still have this rotation, but boy, it's really kind of not as impressive as what we saw perhaps maybe 5 to 10 minutes ago, or certainly when the warning was issued.
Yeah, it's definitely loosened up a little bit. You can see those reds and greens are not quite as tightly wound up as they were just a few moments ago. We have on the radar what we call a bookend vortex rotation, so a good sign of at least at minimum damaging wind in this area between, we'll say, northeast of Harris, northeast of Elmore, between that area and Rocky Ridge. So if there is something on the ground, again, this is moving really towards Oak Harbor, particularly that north side of Oak Harbor. So that would be the number one priority for seeking shelter right now. And then out ahead of it, Port Clinton, Catawba Island, just kind of waiting for this thing to arrive. But that's our immediate threat right now. As Jason mentioned, if you're in, Huron County, not concerned really about any tornado threat at this time. Other than that, no significant update. It looks like they're going to continue this warning until 4:45.
Yeah, they almost have to, because if this thing's, according to our debris tracker that we had on a few moments ago, there's something going on near the ground, and certainly very strong winds as well. Whether it's a tornado or not, almost beside the point because of the very strong winds and the rotation. And remember, as we said, this is kind of far from our Cleveland radar. So sometimes these values or this data that you see right here may be underdone just a little bit, meaning it's far away, and when you shoot a radar beam over the Earth's surface, remember there's a curvature of the Earth, so the radar beam does not curve, unfortunately, it goes straight. So the farther away you get from the radar, the Earth's curvature allows that data kind of to drop off a little bit. The closer to the radar, the better our data signatures are. That's why we have several Doppler radars that First Alert Doppler can use. In this case, it's getting close enough to the Cleveland radar, or we're using our Cleveland radar. That's not always the case, though, especially across our western counties. So right now, very strong winds bearing down on Oak Harbor, especially Oak Harbor, and just north of Oak Harbor right now is really the area that we're watching. Port Clinton, I'll tell you what, especially Port Clinton and north, this area here right along the lakeshore, obviously get to your safe spot right now, because while this storm may not have its traditional tight rotation that we were seeing a few scans ago, it is still causing most likely some problems near the ground level, and it doesn't take much. If we've got some spin, boy, I don't like that bright color there. That indicates very strong winds. If we've got that rotation in the into the sky, maybe it's not dropped down yet. It can drop down almost at any time. How much rain do we have on this? If we go back to our reflectivity, Sam, I just want to take a look here. Okay, what we're going to see here is rain wrap. So people can't go out and look at this thing. It's not your classic hook echo like we get sometimes, or that you get and you see in textbooks or down in Oklahoma and Texas. This is more of a rain wrap situation. So if we do have a tornado on the ground, most likely a weaker tornado, it is going to be rain wrap, meaning it's going to be very hard to see. You're not going to be able to see it. It'll just look like a bunch of rain. Then all of a sudden the winds start to swirl near you, and that's when conditions can go downhill pretty fast. And when you see something like this as well, you can kind of see how there's that clean edge right there. So it goes from no rain to heavy rain pretty quick. This is typically where our strongest wind gusts are. And also, if you look at this, it almost looks like it's just kind of curving out a little bit here, and almost that backward C just a little bit there. You see that? That means it's developing almost into a straight line wind event. Yeah, there probably is some spin in there, but we're also looking at very strong winds, especially just south of the Oak Harbor area, Sam. And this warning is still until 4:45. And okay, this is good information. So this is from some weather spotters out there, storm spotters, most likely law enforcement. Funnel cloud reported near Rocky Ridge, and that makes sense because that's the area that we've been watching. There's Rocky Ridge right there, right in the middle where the funnel should be. So yeah, that means we don't have ground confirmation of a tornado, but a funnel cloud reported near Rocky Ridge, meaning if a funnel cloud hits the ground, it's basically a tornado. So we're getting close here on this, and that means it could drop down at any time. So as we have been saying, now Oak Harbor and north, this right here is Route 19. If you live on Route 19 or have family and friends along Route 19 north of Oak Harbor, tell them to get to their safe spot right now, because we've got a funnel cloud. It could drop down a tornado at any moment. Maybe it already has. Sometimes the tornado can touch down and nobody sees it. That's a possibility, especially when there's all that rain around it, and especially in more of a rural area like we're dealing with now. But as this thing gets closer to the lakeshore, there's not too much more ruralness about it, because Port Clinton is a very populated area. Even from Port Clinton all the way up to Carroll, yeah, there's not a ton of towns here, but there still are a good amount of homes right on the Lake Erie shoreline. Now, this eventually is going to go out over the lake, and what it does from there, we'll see. But we still got that rotation there in the Oak Harbor to Carroll area. That's where our tornado, if we do have one, likely is. Let's get a new track on this, moving northeast at about 35. And you notice we don't have many towns on here. Why? Well, because there aren't many in the lake. Erie, 439, Put-in Bay, 5 o'clock. Erie, by the way, little village, little town right on the lake shore there, north and also west of Port Clinton. Kelly's Island, 508, and don't forget about Port Clinton there as well. So, you know, as I mentioned, Sam and I are here in the weather office. We've got Erica Page. She is an experienced storm spotter and storm chaser for her years out in the Great Plains. And Erica is out in the Fremont area, meteorologist Erica Page. And Erica, I know you're bearing down on this. You're doing it safely. You're experienced. You've done this before. You're not taking any chances. What do you got going on right now? What are you seeing?
Yeah, Jason, so we're on the north side of Fremont right now. We're about ready to hop on State Route 53 North. I'm going to give you a view. So basically what you're seeing outside of the weather beast is the southern end of this storm. So yes, you're seeing a lot of these low-hanging clouds. That's what we call as meteorologists scud. So basically it's just giving us an indication where you have a little bit of rising motion. You're getting that condensation. It certainly looks a lot more ominous usually than what it is. But basically this is that leading edge. So if you look in the distance, once this semi starts to work its way off to the right here on the ramp, you can really see where we're kind of getting that leading edge of this line of storms starting to work through. So what our plan is, we're going to take it very safe. We're coming in from the southern end because I do not want my photographer or I to intercept that rotation immediately. And basically what we're going to do is kind of follow in on the backside of this storm. So again, you can see certainly where we have in this particular part of the picture a little bit of that blue sky there, but you also then just when you kind of start to make this turn to the left, all of a sudden you can see how ominous a lot of those clouds are. So we're going to keep a very close eye on this storm. We are not going to rush this at all, but certainly something that we will keep a very close eye on here as we get a little bit closer. We're going to take 53 basically up to the north and kind of try and ride along the southern edge and basically stay just on the outside of it. Jason and Sam.
Well, Eric, I'm glad you're out there and staying safe and giving us some pictures. As Erica mentioned, safety is the top priority when we do stuff like this. And as I mentioned before, Erica is a professional, really a seasoned storm chaser from her time out in the plains. So she is on that. And you know, if we see anything interesting and seeing anything significant, she will let us know. And of course, we'll pass that along to you as well. That's part of the storytelling that we do here as far as our weather story, and also, of course, providing severe weather coverage, not only here in the studio, but also safely out in the field. And we'll say it again. If you're in this storm's path, if you're in the Rocky Ridge area or Carroll area or just outside of Oak Harbor, don't go out to look at this because it's likely rain wrapped. You're not going to see much of it anyway. And also it's dangerous. You want to stay away from windows. Get to the lowest point of your home, turn up the audio. We're streaming right now. We do that streaming for a reason, in case you lose power. Okay, we're looking in this storm. Hail, not seeing much, right? No hail at all with this thing. Maybe a little bit of pea size, but frankly, this is not impressive. Okay, this is our velocity. Let's go back, Sam, if we could call up that correlation, that debris tracker I thought was really interesting earlier. Okay, we still have some noise there. Now, this is a scan or two behind most likely. So there's Rocky Ridge, there's 19. There is where we've got a little bit of potential debris. Now, remember, a couple of scans ago, we had a lot more brighter colors, okay? So that indicated where we likely had something going on. Now, it's possible sometimes these funnel clouds or tornadoes can get down close to the ground. They cause some disruption. Then they kind of go back out into the cloud or rise up into the cloud. And in this case, it may have happened, but we've got confirmed reports of a funnel cloud. There's Oak Harbor. There's Rocky Ridge. Now, basically, this is passing over Ohio Route 19. There's Ohio 163. There's Oak Harbor. Here's Route 2. Here's Route 2, town of Erie. Here's a look at the lakeshore right here. And this is heading towards the lakeshore. Sam's got a little arrow here. Sam, what's going on? What do you see?
Oh, I was just pointing out Route 2,
oh, yeah.
In case anybody couldn't see it.
Thank you. Yeah, Route 2, right along the lake. And yeah, this is an area for folks traveling on Route 2, basically north and west of Port Clinton. This is where the storm is going to pass over here in the next 10, maybe 12 minutes before it's out over the open waters of Lake Erie. So the warning goes here for another 15 minutes. Chief Meteorologist Jason Nicholas here, along with meteorologist Samantha Roberts. We've got meteorologist Erica Page out in our weather beast this afternoon, heading towards this storm with extreme caution. You saw those pictures she was sending us live with the clouds lowering, certainly an ominous look at the sky. And as we've mentioned, we've had funnel clouds being reported. Though looking at her video live, we got it right there in the bottom right. We really don't see much, but she'll let us know if she has anything that is a little more a little bit more obvious there. And the reason we do that is because if we do see something, that's a big deal. We're going to tell you where it is and say, hey, we've got ground confirmation courtesy of our live video and our weather beast to let you know what's going on. And we'll let the weather service know and all that stuff. You know, it's basically a team effort here, not only with us here in the weather department, but also the network of weather and storm spotters out there that the weather service relies on to let them know if anything's going on. All right, let's try to put another track on this, Sam, or what were you going to write here? Go ahead.
Oh, just letting you know that Erica is going to try to head up to Port Clinton, so she's going to try to get out ahead of that.
Totally fine, because Port Clinton's really on the south side of this thing, and so she can go right here and actually get a good view because, again, the sun's over here, so the sun might a little tough into the sun, but we'll see what happens here. So here's the latest track. It's not going to give us much. It's going to give us basically a Put-in-Bay and Kelly's Island ETA. We can add Catawba to that. Catawba probably a little bit earlier. There it is. Put-in-Bay, Kelly's Island, 5 o'clock. Roughly 5 o'clock, okay? This thing's going to cross over the lake. It probably will weaken a bit. We'll see. It doesn't always happen because the water over the lake is a little bit more stable than the air. I should say the air over the lake is a little more stable than the air over land. So land can give a lot more energy, but then a lot of times once these things get over the lake, they kind of lose their strength, lose their intensity. But still, it's a good heads up. If you're in Put-in-Bay, if you're in Kelly's Island, just keep it right here. And we'll walk you through this. And if you have friends or family up there, let them know that, hey, just keep an eye out. By about 5 o'clock, think about getting into your safe spot. If they continue this warning, we'll see. Well, this is great news to hear. No damage reports at this time in Ottawa County. That's good. Again, tornado warning in effect until 4:45 for Ottawa and Sandusky counties, courtesy of this storm. We've been tracking this storm. It went severe first. Sam and I had about a 30-second conversation about this thing going, we might have to get ready to get on the air. And soon enough, boom, there it was. The warning was issued. Now, thankfully, a lot of times when we get warnings out in Ottawa and Sandusky counties, they're heading towards Erie County, Huron County, and into really the heart of northern Ohio. In this particular case, once it gets out over the lake and once it gets through the islands, forget about it. So that's good news. In fact, there's a possibility that once this gets out over the lake in the next 10 minutes or so, they might allow this warning to expire just because of the lack of confidence that it continues out towards Put-in-Bay and Kelly's Island. All right, let's zoom in again here on our Velocity product and show you what's going on here between Port Clinton and Carroll. Remember, meteorologist Erica Page is out in our weather beast heading towards Port Clinton to give us live pictures here. Remember, with our Velocity, we've got winds inside the storm. This is not radar. This is one of our most important products that we use during potential severe weather, or certainly during a severe weather situation like we're in right now. There's Oak Harbor. Oak Harbor, you're getting some very strong winds, but really the worst of the storm is just to your north. Thankfully, this storm has moved a little bit farther north than just due east. So that's good news for Oak Harbor, not the best news for the Carroll area, for Erie as well. Basically right along Route 2. We've got spin right here near Carroll. There's the winds going away from our Cleveland radar, so moving in this direction. Then we've got a little spin up there on the bottom with winds moving in the other direction towards our radar. It's that red and green couplet that we always look for with a potential tornado. Now, many times this thing is very tight. We're talking about only a few miles. In this case, it's pretty diffuse. It's pretty wide. But nonetheless, we've had confirmed reports of funnel clouds in the area. We've got the Weather Beast also there live. Got about another 10 minutes or so on this tornado warning for Ottawa and Sandusky. And as I said earlier, I have pretty good confidence that this may not be reissued for any counties in our area. Again, this is right on the fringe. We always want to be on the air for these types of things if we think it's heading towards us. In this case, better safe than sorry, because, Port Clinton obviously is a big town down there. Looks like you guys may be okay on this, with the worst of the storm being off to your north and also off to the west. Sam, anything from the Weather Service, our chat that we have? We have basically a constant communication with the National Weather Service. The Weather Service issues these warnings. We also can, from time to time, be on the air before these warnings are issued. In this case, though, they issued it, and there we were. Anything there new? Any idea? They're most likely going to let this thing expire, I would imagine, when it gets over the lake.
They haven't said anything within the next or the last few minutes, so no new updates yet. Still in effect for another 9 minutes, but you're right. Based on what we're seeing on radar, they'll probably end up just pushing out a marine warning for this one for boaters and then canceling it for anything inland.
Yeah, good information there. If we can go back to our reflectivity, I want to see what this, it was kind of bowing out a little bit. If we have any notches in there. You never like to see like a notch right here. You like to see it more of basically a flat surface, and it's starting to give us a couple of notches, which sometimes we can get a little spin up right there, but that is now over the lake. A lot of heavy rain, a lot of thunder in this too. So as I mentioned earlier, if you're trying to go out and see this thing, you're not going to have much success. That's just going to be the case. In fact, you can see our Weather Beast. Can we take the Weather Beast full? I can talk over at control room. That might be an interesting thing if we could do it. We're trying. Okay, it'll be interesting to see, because I would imagine as areas getting closer, you don't see as much. There it is. Because if we have anything there, it's likely going to be rain wrapped, a lot of rain around it. Not much in the way of hail with this thing, but that just looks like a normal, low cloud with heavy rain. They're not getting much heavy rain right now as they're heading northwest towards Port Clinton out of the Fremont area. And she had a really good view when she was live, when Erica Page was live, showing kind of the base of those clouds earlier. And it's hard to storm chase in Ohio. Why? The trees, all the trees that you have there. It's a lot easier out west when you've got huge amounts of viewing This is a lot harder with this, and in many cases it can be a little more dangerous too because of the lack of visibility. But you see right here, they are heading north and west most likely from the Fremont area to Port Clinton. You can see the skies there, nothing that jumps out. Even earlier when she was live and kind of showed the bottom of those clouds, certainly an ominous looking cloud, almost a wall cloud type scenario there with perhaps a funnel trying to form, although we did have a confirmed funnel. That looked a lot worse just because of the visibility and where the sun was. Here, again, chasing towards the sun is not an easy thing to do. It's a lot easier when the sun's behind you, but they're going into the sun. You can see off to the left of your screen there above the breaking news banner there. It's a little bit of a lower cloud, a little bit of a darker cloud. That's likely where we've got all this mess out here right now through Ottawa and Sandusky County. So come back out live here. We can take a look at First Alert Doppler right now, show you what's going on. New downpours developing where we have seen sun. Yeah, great point there, Salmon. All these storms that are developing, well, right now, rain showers, perhaps with some thunder, any of these could turn strong to severe. Any of these could spin up a weak tornado. We talked about that last night. The environment is there for this to happen. Now, we were originally thinking across our southern counties. Well, sometimes it's close. We haven't seen much across our southern counties. Most of this action now has been right along the lakeshore. A lot of lightning in this as it moves out into basically Lake Erie there. The worst of this storm is starting to move offshore, Sam, as it heads towards Catawba Island, as it heads towards Kelly's Island, Put-in-Bay as well. Let's take another look here at what we're dealing with. Yeah, just basically now moving out in the lake. That's where our spin is, the worst of the spin at least. Certainly some rough weather in and around the Carroll area, north and west of Port Clinton, which is way down here by our tornado warning banner. So there's the worst weather here as you move north and west out of Port Clinton towards the Carroll area. We've got the reds and the greens close together, and they're now moving out over the open waters of Lake Erie, eventually Catawba, eventually Put-in-Bay, and even into Kelly's Island. We have 5 more minutes on this warning. Jason, Sam, and Eric are here with you as we always do. Tornado warnings are the utmost importance to what we do here at the TV station. Today is a 19 First Alert Weather Day. We declared that yesterday afternoon based on some of the data that we saw. And this is the reason we do it. So when you wake up in the morning, you go, hey, what's 19 talking about? Nobody else is talking about what's this alert day? Well, we're the only ones that do it. So it gives you a heads up that we could be dealing with the scenario that we're dealing with right now. We don't just do it for fun or because we're bored. We do it based on the data and based on the impact most important to you and your family. Now, you may be watching here from Akron, Canton going, what do I care? Well, if it was in your county, in your area, you would. So again, we have a pretty big coverage area here in Northern Ohio, so it's really important throughout our counties to make sure you have the latest info on this. So the good news is, for the most part, our danger is ending currently across both Ottawa and Sandusky counties, and kudos to our friends at the Weather Service. They nailed the timing on this thing going till 4:45. Sometimes that's a really hard thing to do because sometimes the storm motion on these things can fluctuate a bit. But in this particular case, they did a really great job, as they typically do with these warnings, with the ETA, the ending here at 4:45, because that's when this circulation or the worst part of the storm will move over the lake. Sam, briefly, if we could look at our debris, see if we have anything new here as far as types of things that are sticking out. Well, that's great news, what I see right there. Why do I say that? Because you see this area that's all maroon, basically just uniform in color? That means we're talking about rain and wind, okay? That's fine. We don't have that spin. We don't have that debris, I should say. Leaves, dirt, whatever it could pick up, lawn furniture. It can happen. And that would then be suspended in the air. When the radar beam hits it, it sends it back to our radar in Cleveland, First Alert Doppler radar. It sends it back saying, hey, hold on, that's not rain, that's something else. And when we see that signature, like, by the way, we saw about roughly 20 minutes ago, just west of Oak Harbor, near the Harris area, near the Elmore area, that likely was something on the ground. So they may have a little bit of damage. I know we said we had no damage yet, but that could change as we head through the rest of your, as we get our more information here from folks out there in Ottawa County. But to see this is a pretty good signature. This is almost an all clear signature, at least from our debris tracker standpoint. It's called the correlation coefficient. That's what helps us with that. So the worst part of the storm now, moving off to the north and east. We still have the warning, though, until 4:45. Put-in-Bay batten down the hatches, as well as Catawba Island. We'll see if they reissue this. We're going to stay on this, Sam, because is. One thing I don't like to do when we have wall-to-wall, this, you know, we're on the whole time, wall-to-wall severe weather coverage, is go off of what we're doing. We send it back, we start up our news again, we go to commercial, and then we got to go on again. So what I like to do, and I think we all agree on this, is stay on until this warning is expired. Now, it's likely going to expire here in the next minute and a half to 2 minutes, right? Do you see anything different that would change that call from the Weather Service?
No, I mean, this has really weakened significantly as it's gotten out over the lake, which you talked about. Once it got out over the lake, we'll probably see it weaken significantly. Just that few funnel cloud reports out towards Rocky Ridge. That's about it. No news yet as far as continuing the warning. I doubt they'll do that. We do have those kind of more discrete little scattered storms out across Erie County.
Any spin on these? Sorry to interrupt you. Any spin on these?
No, I'm not seeing any spin. I've been kind of analyzing these on my phone while we're tracking them on TV too. And I'm not seeing a ton of spin with these, but you know, there's been some sun in this area through the afternoon. Remember, like an hour ago when Erica was in the Weather Beast and she was saying, oh, I'm seeing some sun here, this is not good. And right in that area where she was at that time is where we've seen that new development. So we do need to watch those really closely.
Yeah, because our goal here is if we see one of these cells starting to spin a little bit, like even you look at that Norwalk one, it's got a little bit of a hook there, not saying it's doing anything, but I see that, I go, you know, and I don't like how these are all kind of hooking a little bit. And the problem we have here is this one has a history in this air mass of spinning. So we kind of have to be on guard even more so here as we move through the afternoon. Okay, it appears that our tornado warning for Ottawa and Sandusky counties has been allowed to expire. That is good news. Okay. So let's do this. Sam and I and Erica, of course, will be all over this stuff all afternoon. It's a 19 first alert weather day through the rest of our newscasts and even after if we have to be, though I suspect between now and 6:30 will be most of our action. And we'll, of course, be all over it. Should a warning be issued for any of these, we'll break into our newscast and let you know what's going on. For now, Chief Meteorologist Jason Nicholas, Sam Roberts, and also Erica Page, we will send it back to you, Brian.
Great job by our team there, as always. They're dealing with breaking news right now in Cincinnati. Evacuations happening because of a toxic chemical leak. The chemical styrene slowly leaking from a train car, but the EMA team there isn't calling it a train derailment.
So people living in this neighborhood, living within a half mile, being told to leave their homes immediately. Others told to stay inside, seal up their doors and windows. Styrene is used to make plastics and rubber, but exposure to it can lead to a series of health problems. We're going to keep our eye on this, and as soon as we get any updates for you, we will bring them to you immediately. Mandatory evacuations are now underway in at least 7 Florida counties. Tropical storm